just woken up and I just really want to get this off my chest really quickly. The framework of self-development. I want to teach you how to improve yourself and the steps to take and what you should focus on first. So if you can see clearly here, we've got number 1, your body, which is your nutrition, sleep, physical fitness, rest, and recovery. And before that is your most important thing to focus on. And then we've got your mind, which is learning, critical thinking, self-knowledge, and history, and accumulating knowledge kind of thing. Then we have 3, which is spirit, which is your ethics, your personal philosophy, meaning and values to your life. And then we have 4th, which is your identity, goals, ambitions, contribution, self-expression, legacy, accumulation, wealth kind of thing. Okay, now I also need to point out that this is a feedback loop. So one gives into the other kind of thing. So if you think about it, so like your body and spirit and your mind and stuff, your body and putting all your effort into your body and being healthy with your body gives into your mind being better. And if your mind is good, then your spirit is good. And if you've got an identity and a meaning and values, maybe you can focus more on your body again. Like it's like a feedback loop, okay? So like it's not all just 1, 2, 3, 4 and you're set. It's more like start with 1. Once 1 is good, 2 is good, and 2 actually breeds back into 1, and 3 leads back into 1 or 2, and 4 leads into 2, or you know what I mean, kind of thing. So anyway, let's get into it. So focusing on your body, nutrition. So what you put in is what you get out. So you need to feed this thing. This is a machine. This is a biological machine. It's what makes you run. It's what makes you work. So you need to feed it really good food. Now, let's say you don't have much money for really, really good food and it's expensive. You can have basic good food, like just like mince, rice, and some vegetables. Done. Really good food. Boring, but really good food. And why is this important? Again, this is a machine. This is your biological machine. This is all you have. This is what keeps you around in this world, so take care of it, kind of thing. Now, number 2 that people overlook now is sleep. Sleep is super, super important, okay? You need sleep. You need it, you need it, you need it. You need at least 7 to 8 hours to 9 hours, depending on who you are. But you need it, because without sleep, you actually affect your brain, your body, your health. You can actually ruin your heart as well. There's like so many things. And sleep helps your mind make connections with your brain. It helps remove some stuff. So, you need sleep. Oh my gosh, I can't. Where is it? Do I have it? If you don't know why you should sleep, read this book. This book will tell you everything you need to know about sleep, okay? But trust me, you need 8 hours of sleep. Prioritize it over food, nutrition, and physical fitness. Sleep is top. Okay, so now we have physical fitness. Now you have good food in your body, you've rested, you've slept. You need to use this thing. You need to move it. And it's really weird because most people are super tired at the end of the day. And it sounds counteractive, but you actually need to move your body. We are creatures that lived in the caves. We are creatures that used to forage, go hundreds of miles to get food. And we used to walk everywhere. Fitness is super, super important because fitness helps your muscles, helps you grow, and actually helps your brain activity, okay? So using your body, working out, really, really important. Okay, and then we have recovery and rest. So this isn't sleep, this is relaxing, this is sitting down, this is doing something that is not super brain intensive or physical. Enjoying sitting down and relaxing. Super important. This helps your brain make connections in your subconscious. This is how we get shower thoughts and ideas. It's super important that you also relax and rest. This is the part that makes us human. This is hanging out. This is enjoying a beer on the porch. This is, that kind of thing. Super important. And then after we've done all that and our bodies are really set to go, we can now focus on the mind. Now, we need to read. We need to obtain knowledge. Now, reading, it could be, video lectures, it could be podcasts, it could be audiobooks. It could, the great thing about a book or getting knowledge from somebody is that they have a plethora of knowledge from their whole life and their professions, and they condense it into one book. So reading is really, really good. It also helps us if you're reading fiction or nonfiction. So fiction helps us become someone else. It helps us build our empathy. And reading nonfiction helps us understand and learn things and all that kind of stuff. So reading and obtaining knowledge is super, super important. Studying history. Now, with your brain, we need to learn what people did from the past so we don't repeat it. We need to learn from other people's mistakes. We need to learn where we came from so where we can know where we can go. And learning history and events does help us a lot. Like I'm learning about philosophy quite a bit, and I've started reading the ancient philosophers and like reading Plato and all of that. I see so many things that are built on top of them, and I can understand current modern philosophy so much better now that I've heard and listened and read about history. It just helps you stack your knowledge on top of each other. Then we have number 3, which is critical thinking. Critical thinking skills is like so ignored, but it's a bit of like logic, it's a bit of self-reflection, it's a bit of how can I describe critical thinking? It's like, instead of saying, why is this happening? You need to ask things like, what is happening to cause this event and who benefits from it? That is critical thinking over why. You know, the what obliterates the why. You know what I mean? Like, we need to, critical thinking is diving a little bit deeper into our questions. Critical thinking is trying to understand underneath what is happening. It's removing the surface layer and really diving into the information and thinking about it. So like, instead of saying, I'm upset, you can say, why am I upset? This event that's happening, I clearly is important to me because it's making me upset. What is the little thing that I value so much that's making me upset about this event? You know, like, that is critical thinking. It's diving that little bit deeper into the questions. Then we have writing and reflecting. Now this is, I've done this all my life. Writing and reflecting is super great. It's a way to get it out of your head and put it on paper. Like, I write all the time. I keep thinking, I keep writing, and the idea about this is getting it out of your head and putting it on paper so you can, helps you reflect, helps you view it from a different perspective, and it also helps you critically think a little bit better. And it makes you can make connections way better with actually writing. So writing gives you clarity. It makes you have to explain it so that you can understand it a little bit better rather than being abstract in your mind. So writing really helps us reflect and understand ourselves. And then we have building skills deliberately. Now, with the mind, we need to upskill. We need to become better. We need to devote ourselves to something that we can improve on. Now, it could be anything from working out and doing calisthenics movement and understanding the steps to get to that. It could be how to bake a cake so the next time there's a birthday, you don't have to go out and buy one. You can make one from scratch, which is more meaningful. Building skills, like understanding something. It could be in your profession and getting that 1% better so that you can have more time to focus on what's really important and you can autopilot some other activities. So building skills deliberately is super important to giving us a purpose and meaning in our life, kind of thing. And that's really good. And then once we've focused on our bodies and then we've got our mind sussed and we're quite stable, we can finally focus on the spirit. And this is our ethics, this is our compass, this is how we live, this is that kind of thing. So our personal ethics. Now this happens slowly over time from reading history, reading, obtaining knowledge, self-reflecting, you know, things happening in the world. We accumulate bits that we like and we go, okay, this is more me. I don't agree with that. Why don't I agree with that? Because of this, and this. So I accumulate this instead. So building out and developing our personal ethics is super important because it gives us a compass. It tells us what to do, what is right and wrong, what we should focus on, how we should help people. Really important, and that's part of spirit. And then I think this is top. I think this is super important once we have our ethics down, is empathy and perspective taking. We need to learn to look in other people's shoes. Let's say someone's really annoying us and we're really angry at them. Now we need to actually go outside ourselves and go into their perspective and understand, why are they annoying us? What's causing them to be angry? What is their motivations. What has upset them? This is empathy, when we can go outside of ourselves and into someone else's shoes and understand their perspective, which helps us understand ours and our position. It can actually enforce us to be more steady in who we are. So we're like, okay, I don't agree with their ethics, why they're doing this. This is not good, which reinforces your ethics even more. So empathy, self-perspective, like going into someone else's shoes, super, super important to, creating a community and like having understanding and having a baseline to go off and to like ground you, really. Empathy is like super important, and you get this from reading, you get this from being out in the world, you get this from interactions, you get this from learning about history, you get this from reading and learning and knowledge, and it's something that slowly builds over time and changes and changes. But empathy is super important if you can build on it. Then we have like meditation and mindfulness. Now, this isn't like sitting down, close your eyes, and going hum. I mean like going for a walk and relaxing and just letting your brain go. That is meditation. It sounds weird, but like I go for walks and I don't do any podcasting, listening, reading, or anything. I just walk and I listen to my surroundings, like the birds chirping in the forest or something like that. That is meditation in some respects. And what that helps is it helps ground you. It helps you reset. It helps you stop focusing on urgencies or important things that you think are like super high importance or need to get done. Meditation and mindfulness just lets you reset, get to a baseline, helps you with your empathy, helps you with understanding, helps you reflect actually. You're doing all these things in your brain and you don't even know it. And meditation helps you just slow that down so that the important things can come to the surface. And it's really, 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 really powerful. I highly recommend you just like, if you don't want to sit and go hum in the corner, just go for a walk by yourself with nothing. It can be 10 minutes, 5 minutes. That is enough. If you can do that daily, something like that, amazing. So like another way of thinking about meditation is really doing a mundane activity repeatedly over and over again. So for me, walking is putting one foot in front of the other, and that's it. That is meditation. So finding meaning and purpose, now that we've got, again, our body's in set, our mind's in set, we've got our ethics, our empathy and all of that, finding meaning and purpose is one of the biggest things to find out in life. And it can change, and it can adapt and evolve. But really what it is meaning and purpose is what you're giving back, what you hold important to, what gives your life meaning. And this idea of, what should I call it, like, since we have free will, we have autonomy, we can do whatever we want, meaning and purpose is what we put onto something. So let's say a kid loses their toy and they get upset. That's because they think that toy is super, super meaningful, and it is to them. So they get upset when they lose it. And let's say your beliefs are super, super important to you. It's your identity. You've given that meaning and purpose. For me, it is meaning and purpose for me is giving back. It's understanding myself more. It's following the path of philosophy, which is the love of wisdom. So that gives me meaning and purpose. And also writing down in like a journal, like I said, like I write down in these. I've got like a bunch of journals, and just writing down in them gives me meaning and purpose, because I can self-reflect and understand my motivations and all that kind of thing. But finding your meaning and purpose isn't necessarily your job. It could be something else. It could be family. It could be community. It could be an activity. It could be reading gives your life meaning and purpose. It could be gaming and hanging out with people. It could be a sport event. It could be anything. It's what you choose to give your life purpose and meaning. It's what you choose that gives it. So you have huge autonomy here. And like, again, it can change. So you can choose. And again, I have to stress this enough. It doesn't have to be your work. It doesn't have to be your income. It can be something else. It could be creativity. It could be expression. It could be your body. It could be your mind. It could be the things that we just talked about that gives your life meaning and purpose. But generally, it's what you're giving back to the community, or giving back to somebody, or helping somebody is far more important than self-driven, what do you call it? Individuality, individualistic, egotistic things. So if your meaning and purpose is more external, giving back, it's more and more valuable. Then we have gratitude and acceptance. So you've got your mind, you've got your body, you have made decisions, you've got a path. Accept that and be like, okay, I'm doing this thing. I have chosen. I'm taking responsibility for it. Maybe it doesn't work out, then you take responsibility for not working out and you learn from that thing. That's acceptance. And gratitude, oh my gosh, this has changed my life. Gratitude is, for me, I get up every morning and I just write 3 things down that I'm grateful for. And if I haven't done that, I write down 3 things that have gone well that day. That's it. And oh my gosh, it makes my day so much better. And it's simple things like I had a warm shower. I got to get up in the morning and go for a walk. I have a cat or a beautiful wife. Simple things like that. Maybe it's at the end of the day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to walk home. I get to have a warm lunch, maybe. Or I get to go home and play a video game in the evening. That's just simple little things like that. But gratitude is so good because it puts you in a positive mindset. It gives your brain understanding that not all this bad stuff, there's some good things, and those little gems is what make life so, so good. So yeah, gratitude, super important, highly recommend it. Then we have identity and agency. So now that we have a base, now that we know who we are, now that we're giving back to the community, now that we have a purpose, now that our bodies are set and ready to go, now we can focus on the external stuff. And the external stuff is like setting meaningful goals, having a direction that you want to get into. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to get a promotion. Maybe you want to buy that car. Maybe you want to save for a house. Maybe you want to get a holiday. Having a general goal. Maybe you want to improve. Maybe you want to get a master's degree. Whatever it is, maybe you want to win the next match or game. These goals is really, really good because it gives you direction. It gives you something to focus on. It gives you something to improve upon. It gives you an activity to do that focuses externally. Super important. Then we have mastery and pursuing mastery, which is once we have a profession, once we have a hobby, once we have an activity to do, we can focus in on it. We can really dive deep into it. We can really craft and make those skills so we become part of the 1% that is really good at that one activity. Mastery is so fulfilling once you get to it. And the thing with mastery is once you get so good at it, people think it's easy, that it's effortless, because it is to you now, because you've done it so many times and you've made so many little mistakes and you've improved so many times on top of that, you have started to master something. And this feels wonderful to do. For me, it's photography. I do it professionally and on commercials. So when I look at an image or a reference from an art director, I can literally go, oh, I know how to do that straight away. I don't even need to ask about a photo list. I know the exact lights, where to put them to get that thing straight away. And that's taken me years to realize and how to read light. And that's mastery, from doing it over and over again, failing, and learning on top of it until you get to a point where it just becomes autopilot, comes natural. Think about playing an instrument. You don't actually have to think if you become master. Your fingers just let go and just does its own thing. And you're like, what is it? It's like a flow state. It's amazing. So pursuing mastery is super, super fulfilling. Then we have financial literature and independence. This is really important in the modern day now. We need to understand how money works, and you can get that from learning, reading, understanding, and when we were focusing on the mind. But financial literature and independence is super important. Highly recommend that you save 3 months of a nest egg. So if you ever leave your job, you have 3 months of a stable income saved up, so you don't have to stress about finding a new job straight away. You have a bit of time, you have a bit of breathing space and reflecting space. Also, having a nest egg of at least $1,000 is super important, so that if your tire pops, if the car breaks down, you have something that you can instantly grab and fix that problem straight away. $1,000 as a safety for an emergency fund is super, super important. Maybe, suddenly you get sick and you need to go to, get some medicine. You have money for that. That's what it's for. It's not for, oh my gosh, I need these shoes. But maybe you do need these shoes for work, so you have that money. Oh, I need that bag because I'm going to a party. It's not for that. It's literally for the emergency fund. So financial literacy is really important. Saving up 3 months of a nest egg, so if you lose your job, you'll have something to rest on, and accumulating that over and over again. And like investing, not saving for crappy interest in the bank, but actually investing your money into stocks or precious metals or something like that, or in yourself with getting an education. Financial literacy is super important. We need to learn it. They don't teach us it in schools, so get a book, learn from somebody else. Now, when I say that, learn from somebody who is in the situation you want to be. Don't learn from somebody that you know that's just giving you advice. They might not be in that situation. So think about where you're getting your education from when it comes to money. I recommend books more than a personal experience from somebody else that isn't quite, So yeah, anyway. Then we have deep relationships and community. This is more important than you think. You need to have a tight knit of people to ground you, to bounce off, to have fun, to play with, to experience life with, to have moments with, to share with. We need deep relationships in community. Now that for some of us might be quite hard, but like even if it's online in a gaming community, that is still something. You need something like that. Maybe it's playing with the same people online. Maybe it's, I highly recommend you don't do this. Rely on work for this. It needs to be something else. So like joining a club really does lift up this deep relationship and community feeling. Giving back, maybe it's through your church or religious practice, or maybe it's a sports club, or maybe it's something like that. You need other people around you. You need community. You need this. Is super important for your mental health, your life, giving you fulfillment. You need to actually actively seek out relationships. Like it can be scary, it can be stuff like that, but this will make your life so meaningful when you do this. And then we have creation and contribution. The final one is making stuff. The final one is accumulating wealth, should we say. It could be creating a business and you're selling it online. It could be painting. It could be making pottery. It could be organizing events for people to come to within the sports community you're with. Creating and contributing is so important, and it is the last one, but it is really important to create for the fun of it. Create to give back, that kind of thing. And it can be for financial reasons. It can be to accumulate wealth. It can be for you because you want that car, you want that house, you want that holiday. That is okay. That is good. That gives you another direction to go in. So yeah, I just want to go back and say that all these things loop into each other. Okay, they all loop into each other, and it is all about self-development and in a framework. So we have our body. We need our body. This is all we have. We need to take care of it. We have our mind. This gives us everything we need to achieve our goals, to motivate us, to get us going. It helps us move this thing. It helps us do stuff. It helps us learn. It helps us understand. It helps us build empathy. Our mind is super important, and we need to feed it with good knowledge, critical thinking, reflection, writing down, understanding. Spirit, super important to give us meaning, values, direction, ethics, all of that thing. And it gives us a community. It gives us people we can relate to, and identity and agency, and like going into goals, money, ambitions, self-expression, legacy, understanding, wealth. These are all the frameworks for self-development that you need to focus on. So again, body, mind, spirit, identity, agency. Go get it. You can do it. You can make yourself better. And even if you're in a current situation you can't, maybe just go into the mind and the body and understand that you can be okay with where you are, and just building on top of that, learning a bit more, understanding yourself. Having huge ambitions isn't necessary to live a good life. You can have a humble, simple life. That is my goal, to have a humble and simple life where I don't need much. Anyway, catch you in the next one.